This episode of Street Warrior Radio is supported by Amazon Click-Through. If you'd like to support the podcast, go to our website at streetwarriorradio.com and click the Amazon link before you do your shopping on Amazon. It's an easy way to support the podcast and do the shopping you were going to do anyway. That simple click helps us make the podcast possible. We thank you, the listener, and the Street Warrior family.
This is Street Warrior Radio episode 002 with your hosts, Big Bo and me, JC. What's going on, Big Bo?
Not much, man. Hanging in there. What's going on with you?
Nada.
All right, love it.
All right, let's do this.
All right, let's go. Street Warrior Radio.
My life is a gift. I've seen, I've done, I've overcome, I've struggled, and I struggle still. All of these experiences have made me, both good and bad. The good ones have taught me lessons in the value of happiness and celebration. They've given me hope and a positive outlook filled with reward. The bad ones, however, have left scars both physical and mental, and like others, I want to hide. I want to run from them. I want to pretend that they don't exist. I want to hide those scars, but I can't. There's just too many. They're too visible. When I look in the mirror, I'm reminded of them. They stare back at me with a vengeance. I try to look away, to forget, but I can't. Something in my mind, it just won't let me, no matter how hard I fight. Every time I do fight, I lose, and I'm forced to deal with the things that I've done, the mistakes that I've made, and the people that I've hurt. And those who have hurt me. You see, every time I lose a fight with history, it makes me stronger. It makes me better. It forces me to look at myself in a way that makes me uncomfortable. And that's good. It's good because I know I can't run from it. I can't fight it. The scars, they make me remember, and through that, it makes me understand myself better. And when I understand myself better, I recognize who I am and what I was meant for, what my purpose is. You see, these scars, they just won't let me forget. They won't let me fail, because failure only opens those scars up and creates fresh wounds. I'm forced to bring my struggles to bear and push forward, and it forces me to lead. It forces me to lead myself out of the fires of my own personal hell and fight until I can only see the light. And once I'm in the light, once I understand how to lead myself, I can lead others. I can lead others and guide them through their own scars. You see, being a leader is more than a position. It's more than a promotion and some stripes on a uniform sleeve or insignia on a collar or a bigger office with a big bonus. Being a leader is being human. It's recognizing who you are and how you got there. It's understanding your path, and through that, you can understand the path of others. See, you're not there to solve the problems of others. You're not even there to show them what to do step by step or force them to be better versions of themselves. Only they can do that. Your job is to be there to provide guidance, mentorship, love, to empower, and to provide discipline. You can't be a leader to others if you can't lead yourself. You have to embrace your scars and the toll they've taken on your mind and your soul. My life is a gift. It's a gift because it has given me scars. Scars that stay with me, scars that I've grown to embrace and cherish, scars that have taught me how to lead myself and how to lead others. My life is a gift that I open every day and celebrate. I refuse to fight the scars anymore. I choose to embrace them, and I choose to lead.
That's good, man. That was beautiful. So I have a question for you, and a couple of listeners hit me up with this.
All right.
So what is the beginning of that? What's the meaning of reading something off for the beginning of the show? What does that do for the show?
Well, I don't think it... Well, this, the podcast is an expression of us.
Yeah.
It's an expression of who we are. It's us being ourselves, right? And, it's just... I'm a writer,
Yeah.
And, the podcast has kind of brought that bug back in me.
Okay.
And, I want to be able to... I know that, there's people out there, especially like on this topic where we're talking about leadership.
Yeah.
Where they're like, well, I feel like I could be a leader, but I don't know how.
Okay.
Well, that's how. You identify who you are because of the experiences that you've had.
Yeah.
And then you use those experiences, you use those mistakes you've made, you use those times you've been hurtful to people, you use those emotions that you've felt over your life and the lessons you learned from people that have hurt you.
Yeah.
And you take all this in, you go, okay, this is the picture of my life, and I can draw off these experiences, and it allows me to relate to other people.
Okay.
It allows me to relate to people that are going through the same type of stuff, right? And then I can use that to lead. Yeah. Because if I have an influence over you, or not necessarily over you, but with you, because of similar past experiences, I can understand what you're going through. I can understand you better.
Yeah.
And I can understand how to be a leader for you as an individual.
Yeah, walking a mile in somebody's shoes.
Right, because, you have the team, right? Yeah. But within that team is made up of individuals.
Yep.
And if you're going to be a good leader, you have to be able to look at those individuals and understand them. Does it mean that you cater to every little thing that goes on in their lives or every little thing that they throw at you? No.
Yeah.
But you have to find a balance, and getting to know your people and being able to relate to them is going to allow them to understand you better in the direction that you need them to go to get the mission accomplished.
Yeah, and this is a trust thing, when it comes to leaders, especially with good versus bad leadership.
Correct, yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%, yeah, absolutely.
And to me, a good leader is someone that can relate to you as well as lead the way. So, if you haven't been down certain paths, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to explain to me how to walk down that path.
Right.
But if you've been somewhere in the neighborhood, you can at least lead me down the right street.
That's actually like a perfect metaphor right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and a good leader, I think that a good leader is going to be able to empower his people through influence, right?
Yeah.
And what's one of the best ways to get influence with people is to relate to them.
Yeah.
If I can relate to you on the same page about this and that and this and that, then we're more likely to be able to work out the areas that we don't necessarily see eye to eye on.
Yeah.
Right. And so being a good leader, in my mind, you have to be able to, one, relate to the people that you're leading.
Yep.
You have to, two, be able to empower those people.
Yeah.
You have to be able to say, if somebody comes to you and say, hey, I have this idea.
Okay.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
You listen to it. And there may be things in it that you identify as, that's not going to work, because you're looking at it from a different perspective. You're looking from a leadership perspective. But if somebody comes to you with an idea, you want them to be able to, even you may offer suggestions. You may say, hey, yeah, you know what, that's really cool. I hadn't really thought of that. Hey, let's try it. Let's try it. But hey, while we're trying it, let's maybe do this and do that. And you have a discussion about it.
Yeah, or point out why it's not going to work. You just can't tell someone, hey, your idea isn't going to work.
Right, yeah.
Especially someone who's coming to you with an idea. Sure. They're already nervous. They don't even know what you're going to think. And in their mind, they may think this is a stupid idea.
Right.
But if you can listen to their idea and say, I really like that one part out of your idea, and I think that'll work with what we're trying to do here, I think it'll go a long way with that person.
Let's do it and take care of it.
Yeah.
You make it happen.
Yeah.
It's your baby. Let's do
the
this.
lead on this.
And I'll support you.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. But also, if you're a good leader, one of the qualities of good leadership is creating an environment among your team that allows those people to feel that they are capable and able to come to you and say, hey, I have an idea. Let's do this. And, you don't want to shut them down.
No, definitely not. And I think that's one of the things with, per se, a bad leader is that they don't want to hear your ideas because, well, you're below me on this pecking order.
Right. We're not.
Why would I listen to that?
Sure.
And that creates just a powder keg waiting to bust up, because those people are keeping those ideas inside them. You're not letting them implement anything, and you're just telling them it's our way or the highway. Either you jump on the train or you jump off.
Right.
You better get with the program. And it's like, well, that's not how real life works.
Sure.
With anything, you don't go to, if you're a chef and you're working, they're training the next guy up to take over that kitchen so that the main chef can then just be the manager of food and beverage.
Exactly. And through empowering people, a good leader is going to be grooming his people to be better than him.
Yes, exactly.
Even if it means they go past them in position.
Yes.
And you know what? If you can remove your ego from the issue, because that's going to be the biggest hang up. And I think that's going to be the biggest hang up with your bad leaders is a lot of it has to do with ego.
Oh yeah, they can't check it at all.
No, they can't suppress it. They can't sit there and go, okay, you know what? I need to take a step back because I'm being unnecessary right now. I have to control.
Yeah, I've got to control this situation.
I have the rank, I have the position, I have the whatever. You work for me.
Yeah.
Right?
This is all mine.
This is mine, right?
Yeah.
And with a good leader's not going to create that environment. A good leader is going to, again, empower his people to be able to come to him with good ideas and even bad ideas. Oh yeah. And say, even if they come to him with a bad idea, a good leader's not going to, and I'm not talking about being all, but being able to have real conversations with people.
Yeah, definitely.
And saying, okay, you know what? I don't think that's going to work at this time.
Yeah.
And here's why.
Yeah, you got to give someone an answer.
Yeah.
When someone comes to you and says, I think that we should do it this way.
Sure. And
you've already got an idea of how we're going to do it. You should be straight up with those people. Just be honest with them. Be like, look, I really want to try it this way first. And if that doesn't work, I will be more than happy to try it your way as a leader.
Yeah.
And even if mine works, when we go to do it again, I'll be happy to take it from your little area and move it over into mine. And that way we all look good as a team.
Right, because that's what it's supposed to be about.
That's what it's supposed to be about.
It's supposed to be about the team, not the individual.
Exactly.
And so, that good leader, and these are not new concepts, right?
No,
for
definitely
leadership. These are pretty basic common sense concepts.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they're going to teach this at any leadership course, in the military, law enforcement, hamburger academy at McDonald's.
Right, as long as as long as that's the system, right? I think most places from government to private industry have moved or are moving into a servant leadership format.
Oh yeah,
which servant leadership has has more pros than cons. It has pros and cons, but the majority of it is going to be these basic concepts.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what, if you want to, let's say you're in a position right now, there's going to be somebody out there listening to this right now that's going to be in that position of a new leader.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And they're going to be like, I don't know what to do. I have seen these things from my hierarchy and I don't like that. I don't like it. I want to make a change.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Make a change, but start at your level. Start at your level and use your influence among your people and then work that up the chain.
And you know what? Sometimes that's even better when you're a new leader because there may be somebody who's been there longer than you.
Right.
And they just haven't put them in that leadership role. And that person on your team may be a little bit bitter towards you or maybe a little bit hesitant towards you because they're going to want to see you fail maybe, or they're not going to want to help you as much. And so the best
thing... And why is that?
Because they haven't been put in that place and they can't check their ego.
Exactly, their ego. That's what it comes down to.
But one thing to do to try to implement that person into this new leadership role that you've taken in, because you don't want anybody to feel like they're left out, is you go to that person and be like, hey, they asked me to do XYZ. I really don't have any good ideas for this. What do you have? And listen to that person. And they're going to feel empowered and they're going to feel like, man, this person really cares. They actually want to work with me.
Right.
And they just don't want to put me down.
And sometimes as that person that's receiving that question, like, their leaders coming to them and they're like, hey, what do you think about this? Well, I've been put on the spot now, so I don't really know, right?
Yeah.
You may have been thinking about it for weeks, and all of a sudden now it's like, Well, the leader should be like, hey, you know what? Why don't you think about it and get back to me?
Yeah.
Unless it's obviously something critical that needs an answer right now. And in that case, a lot of times the leader's already going to be put in a position where he's going to have to make a decision. But if it's got something you got time, and your person, whoever it is that you have on your team is not giving you an answer right then, that's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean they're stupid. It doesn't mean It doesn't mean they don't know what's going on. Maybe they just need some time to think about it and process it, because everybody thinks about and processes things differently. But a good leader should have the quality and the traits to recognize that and then be able to empower that person. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It's fine if you don't have an answer right now. Why don't you think about it? Why don't you get back to me tomorrow?
Yeah.
Come up with a plan. Write it down if it helps you. And let's talk about it tomorrow. And let's do it. Everything looks good. Let's do it.
Yeah. That was one of the things we had in the military. Is I had a squad leader who was really big on us doing most of his work, and not because he was lazy, but he wanted to make us shine. He wanted to help us get to that next level. And in doing so, we would work extra hard. And in doing that, we would make him look good because his squad got everything that, the first sergeant, our platoon sergeant, put out.
Sure.
And then we felt good because we made him look good. And it's a big giant circle, and it goes around and around. And you're just like, you really want to do good and you want to do well. And in that, you see who took over in that little, group you gave them, who's possibly going to be the next leader up, and you help to groom that person while not neglecting all the other people in there. Yeah. You just help bring them along, because some people are slower to leadership than others, and it's just life. People are just slower to things than other people are.
And some people aren't leaders.
This is true. Some people should probably never be put in leadership roles.
Yeah, right. And that may be because of a lack of skill set. It may be because of a toxic personality. It may be because of a variety of factors. It really doesn't matter. But not everyone is going to be able to step up. Everyone has some sort of a capability of being a leader, right? Well, I'd say most people, right? I mean, I think there are some people that you're just but
where are you going to be a leader at? You may not be
it might be at home.
Yeah, you may not be the guy up front, but you can definitely be number two. And in that role, you help provide something for the team, and that's what it's really all about, is teamwork.
Right, and there's a concept called subordinate leadership, which means that, you may be the leader in charge of this, but you have a team of people under you.
Yeah, exactly.
That you're trying to build into leaders, and that have the capability to make their own decisions, be able to influence the team, be able to influence the organization, because you're helping them along and you're helping them build those skills. Right?
Yeah.
So, that being said, on the flip side of that, we have bad leaders.
Yeah.
We have real bad leaders. And I would say that, in law enforcement, in business, and
the military, you have bad leaders in the military.
But I would say it's a growing thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And leadership, for some reason, like nowadays, seems to be almost a rarity. Good leadership, like real good leadership, solid leadership, where you have it from the top all the way down.
Yes.
And the bottom all the way up, because it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
But bad leaders, it seems like, right, especially if you're a good person trying to do the right thing, it seems like the bad leaders have the most influence over what goes on.
And how do you deal with that?
Well, and that's the hard thing. It's a hard thing to check, because guess what? You have to check your own ego.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, definitely.
And it's going to mean that you're going to be doing things that necessarily you're not comfortable with, such as building a relationship with those people.
Yeah.
Going to work every day and seeing that person that you can't stand, and you're just like, hey, life is tough right now when I'm having to deal with this. I'm going to make it a lot easier on myself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk to him. Yeah. I'm going to build a relationship with this person. It doesn't mean I like him still, or her. It doesn't mean that I'm going to hang out with them outside of work.
No.
Or show up at the family barbecues or kids' birthday parties. But while I'm here, it's not helping me. It's not helping them for there to be some sort of adversarial relationship.
Yeah, and then also, I think where people get misconstrued is they get jaded, and they
real quick. And it does not take much. It doesn't take much.
And then they think they have a bad leader, because they may not have a bad leader.
Right.
They could just think they have a bad leader. Right. And so they're going to do everything they can to undermine that person or make them look bad.
Or they're carrying over the experiences from a previous leader that they had that was bad, and they're taking that attitude and they're putting it on this new person that's coming in and is like just trying to do their job and trying to lead and is in a new position, and there you have this these people that are just like whatever.
But, and that's the wrong avenue to take, because then that person sees you as not being a leader.
Not only they see you as not only being a leader, but they're seeing you as oh my God, I've just inherited this toxic, ridiculous person that, is going to make my life worse. So guess what?
Yep, I'm going to make your life worse.
Exactly.
And now you guys are just sitting there and you're butting heads and no one's giving way. And then, once again, the team suffers.
Exactly. It's the team that does suffer.
Yeah, the team does suffer because everybody around you sees it.
Right.
And you can cut the tension with a knife. So now your peers are walking on eggshells around both of you, and they don't want to say anything bad about that person.
They don't want to be involved in that conversation.
Yeah, they just want, now everybody's upset, and now your whole shift, squad, your business, your office, I've worked in the civilian sector. I've been in an office, and it's just
absolutely, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I don't even want to go around those two. And they're miserable towards each other. They're miserable because that stuff carries over to everybody. It just doesn't happen between the two that don't like each other.
Yeah.
It bleeds over into the rest of the relationships.
Exactly.
And so now they're like, God, those are two miserable bastards.
Right.
And nobody wants to work them.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with either one of them.
Either one of them.
Because you're just like, I want nothing to do with that.
Yep.
Don't talk to me about it. I don't want to see it.
Exactly.
So you're essentially, because of your attitude, because of your ego, because your unwillingness to take a step back, take a breath and go, okay, is this helping me? Is this helping the situation? Is this helping the team? Because we get wrapped up in ourselves sometimes, and we don't see past what
there's not an I in team, but there's definitely a me.
Oh yeah, there's a me. There's a me.
Yeah.
And, in that you end up making the team suffer. And it's about the team.
Yeah.
And especially if you're in a life or death type of job where you have,
definitely like ours.
Yeah, where you have, a team of people that depend on each other.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, I've heard stories, I've seen it, where you have a bad leader who has pissed everybody off, and that person, like, everybody literally hates him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're in a position where they're getting their ass kicked.
That's horrible.
And while your buddy over here on your team or on another team, squad, wherever, is getting their ass kicked and they're screaming on the radio, you're setting the earth on fire to get to them, to help them. Because for those of you that don't understand this, that is literally the scariest, worst feeling, pit in your stomach feeling in the world, when you hear another officer or a fellow squad member in the military or whatever that is in a bad situation and they're screaming for help.
Yeah.
You want to move mountains to get there, and you will.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes you have that one person where everyone's like, speed limit.
Oh, gosh. I hope that's never me.
I've seen that happen, though.
Really?
And it's terrible. That's terrible, but I've seen it happen. I've never done that.
No, I would never do that to anyone.
But I've seen it happen, and I've heard it joked about. I've even heard it joked about recently.
Jeez.
I mean, it's a real thing. I mean, people will, and you I've read about stories or heard it on TV or whatever. People in the military in the past, fragging their commanders, right?
Oh, yeah.
Chunking a grenade into their tent or whatever, just making sure that. And there's tons of stories of stories out of
people
Vietnam
crazy,
and stuff like that.
People go nuts and they can't handle it.
Right. That you hate somebody so much that you want them dead
is a little much. I don't think I've.
Where are you as a
person?
Especially if they're on the same side. You know what I mean? Yeah, they may be an asshole, right?
Yeah.
But
you should never want to see harm come on them.
No, I mean, but you've reached that point. If you've reached that point, you need to step back and check yourself, because you now are dangerous.
Yeah, and I mean, on my first deployment, I don't think most of the people that were I'll go E4, specialists and below, weren't over the age of 27, 28. Mm-hmm. So you had a lot of young kids on my first deployment. And I remember there was just like a lot of tension. People hated people. I mean, you're stuck with these people for a year, and it's just a bunch of different personalities. And I remember this one girl got up and she was just, they were going in on this guy about just being a horrible person. He had just got newly promoted, and she was like, I can't stand that MFer, but if the motherfucker's getting shot at, I'm going to help him.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, I definitely respect that. Sure. I feel the same way sometimes. Yeah. And it's just like, you've got to help people. You know what I mean?
And I think there is a difference between, joking about it and then when it actually happens, your actions after that. But the problem is the joking.
Yeah.
Right? Because how are you representing yourself at that point? Are you at that point being a bad leader to your teammates?
Yeah.
Right? And we've all been guilty of this. We've all complained about, supervisors or other people or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And all you're doing is creating division. And,
Yes.
and if you were...
You're setting up cliques and you're dividing
right,
everybody.
which is absolutely unhealthy to an organization, to a team. And if you're able to recognize that you've got these behaviors, that you're doing these things, and again, just like we talked about in the first episode, we're not talking about we're not coming at from some high horse or whatever.
No.
This podcast talks about the life lessons we've learned.
Oh, I've complained about supervisors all the time.
Oh yeah,
everybody does.
Everybody does. But this podcast is about the life lessons we've learned. We're sharing from our mistakes, and everyone does it. Everyone complains, and so you have this situation where you're disrupting the team, and if you are truly able to step back and look at yourself, right?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm not being a good leader. That person's struggling, and we're making fun of him.
Yeah,
we're talking shit about him. Maybe I can help him.
Maybe, but are they going to be receptive to it?
Maybe, but is that your problem?
Nope. At least you've tried.
Exactly. At least you know you're doing the right thing.
Yep.
So, in that, we kind of talked about but one thing we didn't talk about was what do we see as the qualities of a bad leader? What do you think the qualities of we talked about the qualities of a good leader were. What do you think some of the qualities, or I guess they wouldn't really be qualities, but what do you think? I'm
going to say one of the biggest bad qualities I've seen in bad leadership is micromanagement.
Mm-hmm.
Micromanaging is the worst because you're letting your peers know and the people that you're in charge of, you don't trust them. Or that's the way it's coming off to them.
Right.
Is you don't trust me to do my job.
Right.
So I've been through this training.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to college. I've been to whatever you did to get your job.
Mm-hmm.
And now you get there and they train you to do your job and they show you what your job is going to be. And then you have someone who hovers over you.
Right.
And they're constantly just sending the email. The deadly email.
The dreaded email.
The dreaded email. Or the dreaded phone call when you're on your day off.
Or the memo.
Oh, the dreaded memos. And you're just like, I can't freaking please this person. What is it going to take? What do I have to do to please them?
Right.
And there's no pleasing them because you're never going to do it their way. It's going to constantly be micromanaged. Instead of them saying, okay, they did it this way. That's their way of doing it. It's not my way,
right? But
it's their way, and the job still got done. There's 1,000 ways to skin a rabbit.
Sure.
And I don't like the way you do it, but you skinned it. You got the job done. It was effective. Everyone was happy. The end result was going to be the same. We're going to boil the damn rabbit.
Right. We're going to boil it. We're going to eat it.
We're going to eat it.
Right.
I think micromanaging is a cancer because
yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't allow you to be organic. It doesn't allow you to bring out your personality, and it doesn't allow you to become the leader that you can potentially be.
Right.
It stifles who you can be and what you are.
But that being said, is there a place where micromanagement is appropriate? I think there is.
I think in certain situations, like
let me
training.
Training. There we go.
Yeah, training would be
so when
good.
you're building someone up, someone that's never been let's say you're a field training officer, and you have this brand new officer that's just got out of the police academy, at this point has basically come out. It's funny how people, when they get out of the academy and they learn, these laws and all these little defensive tactics and they're building searches and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And they're all high and mighty and stuff and cocky.
Yeah.
And then they get to day one with the field training officer and it's like, how do I wipe my ass?
I forgot everything.
Yeah, I forgot everything, including my name.
Yeah.
When you have a situation like that,
mm-hmm.
yeah, you're micromanaging that person because you're having to look at every single thing that they're doing and you're having to make corrections as they're doing it, right?
Yeah. I'll use...
Of course, it depends on how you deliver the message.
Yeah.
Depends on their experience. But I think you're right. Training is probably the most appropriate place for micromanagement.
Yeah.
And it's kind of designed to be that. But there's an end to field training.
Yeah,
right?
That's it. And I'll use myself as an example with you as my trainer. I remember, I think it was probably my third week, and we get to a house, and you're there and you're talking to these people, and you're identifying them, and I'm just sort of standing there watching you. And I remember you're like, hey, come here real quick. We go to the car. You're like, hey, I need you to start identifying people. I'm gonna need you to start talking to these people. You know how to do it. It's not new to you. Let's start voicing yourself. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I got it. I know how to do that.
That's right. I am here.
I'm here. I'm here to work too. I'm police. Hey, let me see your ID.
I'm a real cop.
This is my badge. I shined it this morning. And that's the perfect time to micromanage when you're in those sort of situations. The military is the same way.
Sure.
Your drill sergeant is micromanaging your every movement for the however long basic is. When I went, I think it was 10 weeks, and now it's 13. Unless you're in the Air Force, and it's a week and a half. Coast Guard's 4 days. They're 4 days of training. And, people are micromanaging them, and that's perfectly fine. But when you get out of boot camp and you get out of AIT, there's not a drill sergeant around anymore. There's no one screaming for you to be on time.
Nope.
You know what time to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Be a grown-up.
Be an adult.
Be an adult. Be there.
You know what your responsibilities are. Right?
And then I've had those leaders who call me at 9:30 at night. PT formations at 6:30. It's been 6:30 since I started. Yeah, I know when it is. I know exactly when it is. Get off my line. I'm going to sleep. Or I'm watching YouTube videos about aliens.
Well, that's a rabbit hole. Micromanagement, it does have its benefits. It does have it has in certain situations.
Yeah, it has its place in time, but it doesn't have its place for people that aren't.
Right, but once you've recognized competency, you've recognized that the person's capable of doing what it is that you have guided them.
Yeah.
I think training, mentorship, that's all pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
But once they've reached that level of competency, it's time to step back and allow them to grow.
Cut the cord.
Allow them to grow. Because if you don't and you keep on, you know what's going to happen? And we've all seen it happen.
Yeah.
You have people that get afraid to make their own decisions.
Yep.
And then what does that do? Because
people sitting on their hands.
That person that is doing the micromanaging is now getting annoyed with that person because they're doing the very thing that they want them to do, but at the same time don't want them to do.
Yeah,
I want to know about everything that you're doing. I want to be able to tell you I want to tell you where to stand.
Yep.
When you're directing traffic.
Yeah.
Right? Well, okay, if I'm a third week rookie.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I probably don't know exactly where to stand. If I'm a decade plus veteran of law enforcement, I don't need you to tell me that. You know what I mean? But if you're controlling my every move, if you're controlling every decision I make, you're causing me to
second guess,
hate you. 2, you're causing me to not respect you.
Yeah.
3, I don't feel valued at all.
Nope.
Right? And 4, I'm now second guessing myself because this constant error of doubt has been placed. And so now I'm making mistakes. And because I'm making mistakes, you're getting on to me and I'm getting in trouble.
Yep.
And it's creating this, it's just like a snowball. It just keeps on going and going and going. And then you have that micromanaging leader going, this guy just, he can't do anything. Yeah. I have to micromanage him. I mean, he wouldn't even know where to stand if it wasn't for me.
Exactly. And you're like, no, I know where to stand, but if I stand to the left, you're going to tell me to stand to the right.
Right.
It's just how you are.
So, what's interesting? At least in my mind, okay, cool. You want to tell me where to stand?
I'll stand there.
Tell me why.
Nope. I don't even care because you're going to come up with some malarkey.
No, tell me why. It goes back to being a good leader. If I want you to do something, right, it's okay if you question me. Because as a leader, as a good leader, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to have that call. I'm going to be able to go, okay, I'm not explaining this clearly enough.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing because everybody's level of understanding is different. Everybody's level of processing information is different, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to come at you and go, well, why do you want me to do that? And you're going to go, well, I want you to do that because if you stand right here, I'm noticing from back here that by being right there, maybe you're not seeing it from your position, but from my position, I can see that you're in a real bad spot. And if somebody comes out over here, they're going to run you over.
Yeah.
But by standing over here, you're able to cover this and cover all this at the same time.
And you stay safe.
Yeah. Right?
Yep.
But, your micromanager is going to be like, no. You're going to stand here because I told you to. You're going to stand here because that's just where I want you to stand.
Yep.
Right? And it makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. And they don't even know why. They just want to control every aspect of what you do. And then they want to complain when you ask them what you want them to do.
Right, and you're going to get pissed off.
Yep.
And you're going to get an attitude. And then they're going to get an attitude. And now we're adversarial.
Yep.
And we're right back to being a bad team, mate. Being a bad leader. And it's simple fixes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It really, to me, goes back to checking your ego.
Oh, yeah. Ego's like... I think ego is almost 100% of the issue.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to step back from yourself and go, hey, I'm just going to take it all in first.
Maybe I don't know everything.
But, and maybe you don't. Let's say you're a new leader and you're coming into a team that has a lot of experienced guys. Right?
Yeah.
And you don't have a ton of experience, right? Or you do have a ton of experience, but maybe it's in a different area.
Yep.
Maybe your ton of experience isn't in, and of course we use law enforcement as a reference because that's our experience.
Yeah, definitely.
This could apply anywhere.
Yeah.
Let's say we're in a business environment, right?
Yeah.
And Joe Blow over here from finance is coming over here to logistics.
Yeah.
And he got a promotion. He's going to take over logistics.
Yep.
Well, he worked logistics 15 years ago when he first started, but then he went over to finance. Now he's back over here and he's in charge. And you have this team of dudes that have been doing logistics for
the last 15 years.
Yep. Wouldn't it make more sense for that guy to come in there and go, hey, you guys have been doing this a lot longer than me. What do we do here?
Yeah.
How do we...
It's been a while since I've done this. Yeah. Can someone give me a refresher real quick?
Help me out.
Yeah.
Help me out so I can help you guys out. How do we do things? How do you do things? I don't want to disrupt everything. Show me how we do stuff around here. So that way I have a better understanding and I know what direction I need to go.
And that, as a leader, is when you start tweaking things because they brought you over there for a reason.
Sure.
And you're not necessarily supposed to fix everything, but you're supposed to be a manager and lead people. And so you're like, yeah, I get we've been doing it like this for a while, but I think we need to try it this way. I think it'll overall affect us in a better light.
Right, but not right off the bat.
No,
you're not coming in there and going...
No, you got to win the hearts and minds of everybody.
Yeah. And you're saying, hey, show me what you do.
Exactly.
Right? Because then that person's like, oh, he cares.
And you also got to know what your people are good at.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody has strengths. Everybody has weaknesses.
Exactly. And so if you know that the people you're working with and working for are good at one thing, everybody's always talking about, I don't want people to put me in a box. Well, everybody's in a box.
Sure.
Because you're good at what you're good at. And that's where you're going to thrive at, and that's where we're going to thrive at. Is for you to be 100% the best you can be.
Right.
I'm not going to put you in a triangle when I know you're best in the box.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm going to put someone else in the triangle because I know that's what they're good at.
Yeah.
And so we're all going to come together and make one giant puzzle piece, and it's going to be better, and we're going to be a well-oiled machine, and that's what we're going to fix.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the only objective at that point. So in coming in and being a new leader, let's say, let's keep using that as an example because you have a new situation, right? So how do you? And a lot of this kind of goes back to micromanagement, right? How do you get the most out of your people? Do you get the most out of your people by micromanaging, or do you get the most out of your people by delegating authority? Definitely delegating authority. So you gotta let it, like I said, you gotta let it be organic. It's gotta grow, right? You know what I mean? You can't put too many stipulations on people and want them to do things that they're not comfortable doing, because then there's going to be a huge learning curve. And that's going to slow down the process of everything. And it may work in the long run, but you're going to go through a lot of growing pains, and they're not going to be comfortable. Oh, and they're going to be real painful. It's okay to be in uncomfortable situations to learn new things, but when you're asking, someone who's never done something before to do it that way, you're hurting them and you're hurting the team. Sure, you know what I mean. And that's not what we're trying to do. No, it also goes into empowering your people. Yeah, right. okay, I'm the leader. I have 95 tasks on my desk that I have to get accomplished. I can't get 95 tasks on my desk accomplished by myself.
Yeah, no.
I can try, but I'm going to fail.
Yeah. I'm not going to do them all well. I'm going to do them half-assed.
Right.
Because I'm trying to get them done.
Right. And I'm going to look like an idiot to my people that I'm supposed to be leading. And I'm going to look like an idiot to the people above me because I can't get the job done.
Yep.
So how do you solve that?
And that's actually why so many businesses or police departments have high turnover rates. Because the people above them now see, oh, I gave them all this stuff and they couldn't even handle it. And the people below them are like, knew he was a piece of crap leader.
Right.
I knew he couldn't lead. Instead of saying, I have 95 things, I have 7 people that essentially work for me or, I'm in charge of, I'm going to give them each 5 things.
Right.
That cuts my load almost in half.
Right. And it allows you to bring new and fresh ideas to the table.
Yeah. And it lets them feel like they're part of something.
Right.
Like, oh man, they really think I can do this.
They feel like they're valued.
Yeah. And then they're just like, oh man, I'm actually part of this thing. I don't work for them. I work with them.
Yeah. I'm invested.
I'm invested here.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay here forever. You know why? Because they gave me these 5 things that I'm really fucking good at.
Right.
And I'm going to do them. I'm going to do them to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And then as the supervisor, you're getting those 5 things back and you're like, oh, this is awesome. Knocking them over there. But they're like, oh, these are really good. Yeah. Joe Blow did those. He's on it. I gave those to him. He's on it. He's moving. He's keeping us oiled. Yeah. Rock star. And then they're like, oh man, he took over that guy. I mean, those people could have thought that guy was a lame duck just sitting there. And like, he's turned him into a rock star.
Yeah.
He's turned him into somebody
by giving him some responsibility.
Yeah.
By showing him that he's valued.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like with kids, you give your kids chores and like, the first thing you give them is like open your own juice box.
Right.
And then after that, it's like take out the trash. So they're building, you're like, I shouldn't have to tell you to take trash out anymore. It's your job. Go take out the trash.
That's actually a really great way to look at it because, as you add those responsibilities, what do your kids feel? Pride.
Pride, yeah.
They feel valued. They feel like they're contributing and they want to.
Yo, yeah.
If you just go watch TV. I'll take care of all this.
I'll take care of everything.
Well,
then the mess gets bigger and it grows and it grows.
And then before you know it, your child's fuck up. And it's just how it is. They're on drugs.
They're shooting smack in their toes.
They're, selling body parts on the street for, that quick high of meth.
Yeah.
But it's a snowball effect, butterfly effect.
Yeah, definitely. And that, and that also leads to leadership at home.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because where does it all start? Where everybody's foundation is at home.
Yeah,
right?
and this is the thing. This is how it ties in because I've had places where towards the tail end of my career in the military, I just didn't want to do it anymore because the military was going towards that micromanagement, and it was just so many chiefs and not enough Indians, and it was like I was tired of being pulled 1,000 ways, and it was literally I would come home and I would just be like, "Brah, I don't want to throw the ball with you. I don't want to go do anything. No, I don't want to hang out this weekend with you. Get out of my face. I just want to veg out in front of the TV because I got to go back to that shithole on Monday." And you're just like, and it sucks. Yeah. But when you get a little bit of responsibility at your job, you come home and you're like, what's up? I'm running things over there. Yeah, let me tell you what I did at work today. Yeah. I've got X, Y, and Z responsibilities, and it improves your leadership at home. And, everybody, when you're not happy at work, nobody's happy at home. Everybody suffers.
Everybody.
And I think anybody can attest to that.
Right. And I don't think it's necessarily true in reverse. I think that if stuff is shitty at home, work is often an escape.
Yeah, and you have a good thing going at work.
Right.
Oh boy, you want to be there every day.
Exactly.
Hey, I'll work overtime. Heck yeah, I love being here.
But if you have a shit show at work,
oh yeah,
and you have a shit show at home, you're just like, you're thinking about, taking a cliff dive or something. You're
you
just
don't want to be anywhere. And that's how people get vices. I'm just gonna drink. I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna gamble. I'm gonna go cheat on my wife.
Right. Yeah.
Because
I'm gonna whore it up. I'm gonna do this.
Because if I cheat on my wife, I can escape the realities of work. I can escape the realities
because I'm in control of that.
Yeah. I can escape the realities of home and work by picking up something on the side, whether it be a woman, alcohol, drugs, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah,
it's going to be something. You know what I mean? And So when people actually enjoy their job and enjoy going there and get empowered,
right,
it changes everything in their life. It's just like speaking positive energy into things. You know what I mean? I'm a huge believer in that.
Yeah.
And if you can be positive at work, it feeds into everything else, because you wake up, wake up even on your days off, and your mind's firing about little things that you had left at work that you didn't quite finish, that weren't that important, but you're still firing on those, and your mind's working, and your kids are like, oh, you want to go do something? Oh, yeah, let's go do this. Boom, and you're doing that, and while you're with your kids, you're just like, man, hey, let me show you something, because you've been a leader at work, so now you want to be a leader to your family too.
Of course.
And that's, people, churches do that all the time. That's why when you get into a church, the first thing they want to do is make you a member.
Yeah.
Because they want you to come in and they want you to be a part of their family.
Right.
So once you're a part of the family, then they're like, you know what? I think you would be really good working with the youth pastors. So boom, they give you a position to work with them. And then you're just working with all these people and you're invested in the church now.
Right.
Your kids go there. You're starting to bring people in because you're like, man, let me tell you how this place has changed my life.
Right.
Let me tell you what God's done for me.
They've empowered me.
Right. And it's just that positive energy. And it's, I'll use church again. When you walk into the building of a church, everyone's happy because they all want to be there.
Right.
Nobody goes to church that doesn't want to be there. So when you walk into church and you feel those positive vibes, it's because everyone is legitimately happy to be there.
Sure.
And I've had jobs where I've walked in and I'm just like, boy, everybody sure is happy to be here. I'm happy to be here.
Right.
And I've had jobs where when I walk in, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Let me tell you what just happened here. And you're just like, oh, God, I don't want to be here today. Yeah. And it's just horrible. Yeah. And that's the worst. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's absolutely the worst.
Yeah.
The saying, happy wife, happy life.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, happy job.
Yeah, happy husband.
Life. Yeah, I mean, it's just how it is. And you're right. It does translate. It does translate to home. It does translate to your kids. It does translate to how you handle the relationships at home. But you know what? One of the biggest teachers, I think, of leadership at home that translates across the board is communication.
Oh, yeah. Communication is key.
Communication is the answer to literally everything. Communication saves lives.
Oh, yeah. First thing when you find someone who's passed out, paramedics, police officers, even someone on the street, the first thing you do is, hey, are you okay?
Right, yeah.
Talk to me. What's going on? What happened?
What happened?
You want to know, because if you can hear that person talk to you and they can articulate words, you can help them better.
Right. If you're able to communicate with your team members at work as a leader, you should be able to communicate at home with your team at home.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's absolutely transferable. Absolutely transferable.
Like when your kids come in and they're screaming from somewhere, first thing you do is be like, hey, calm down. What happened?
Or wife has a problem.
Yeah.
Or you have a problem.
Yeah.
And I think that if you show that you practice what you preach at work as a good leader at home, I think that's infectious too with your family members. I think that,
also bad leaders are probably sometimes possibly having bad times at home. Yeah, so they come home, if they're actually at home and no one's listening to them at home,
right,
and they can't get anything going there, they're going to come to work in a place where they know you have to listen to them, and they're going to try to impose their will.
I have no power at home, so I'm going to impose my will on these people.
On these people who have to listen to me, or they're fired.
And sometimes that's at a subconscious level. Sometimes that's not even a conscious thing. It's just this reactionary mechanism in their brain that, God, this is the one thing I can control, so I'm going to control it. And they end up shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of their attitude.
There's a reason your wife won't let you drive. You don't know how to,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which actually it's the other way around, but when she hears this, I'm going to pay for this. But,
yeah, for sure.
But,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that, overall, that's kind of the gist of our view on leadership. What's a good leader? What's a bad leader? And how it applies to home, how it applies to work, how it applies to your life.
Yep.
And really, it comes down to doing the right thing. It just comes down to doing the right thing. It comes down to the golden rule: treat others as you would want to be treated. Right? It's so cliche and it seems so stupid. And you heard it as a kid.
Yeah.
But it's true.
It is true.
It is true.
You wouldn't want anyone talking down to you, so why talk down to anybody else?
If you want to feel valued, if you want to feel important, if you want to feel, well, not even necessarily important, but if you want to feel part of the team. You want to feel like you can contribute. You want to feel loved and liked and happy, right? You want to feel those ways.
For sure. Everybody does. That's just human nature.
Right. And recognizing that's how probably everybody wants to feel.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to treat you like that. I'm going to treat you as a member of the team. I'm going to treat you with respect. I'm going to treat
somebody like you would treat your family members.
Yeah, exactly.
The ones you like.
Would you? Yeah, the ones you like.
The ones you like. Yeah.
Not like the drunk uncle or anything.
Yeah, I love my drunk uncle though. He's the best. I haven't answered his phone calls in months because he cries. But anyway.
But yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's common sense, and it's only common sense now because of mistakes and learning from those mistakes and bad decisions and learning from those bad decisions. And now it's kind of commonplace to me. So, and then when you see it at, and this could be anybody, you see it when you go to work and you're just like, God, I don't want to be here.
Yeah. Nobody does.
I don't want to be here.
No, if you go there and no one wants to be there, you don't want to be there.
No, of course not. Why would you want to be there? That's the environment.
Yeah. This is where I'm choosing.
I'm going to work every day and this is the environment. I don't want to be a part of that.
No.
I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to go to work and hear that I'm worthless. I don't want to go to work and hear that I don't understand my job, or I don't...
or you're bad at your job.
Or I'm bad at my job, or that the experience and things that I've obtained in my career, I don't want to hear that those are... I don't want those to be diminished by somebody else who may not have the same experiences. There's value in all of it. You know, there's value in all of it. Everybody brings something to the table. Recognizing that, using it, is not only going to empower your people, it's going to empower you as a leader. It's going to make you and the team look good, and you're going to be successful.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You're definitely going to be successful.
It's as simple as that.
Yep.
So I think that's about all we got on that for the moment. I'm sure this topic will be revisited several times. But so with that, pushing forward, right? It's a little thing that we said we'd try out and see what happened.
Yeah, let's just throw this in here.
And here's the thing: we're going to tell our stories, right? But we also want to hear from you. We want to hear your stories.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's a little segment called War Stories, right?
Yeah.
And so, if you decide that you want to hear your stuff on the podcast, we'd love to hear from everybody. Cops, firefighters, paramedics, military personnel, business people, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Some
crazy story, some heartbreaking story, something that changed your life, whatever. Yeah. Something funny, it doesn't matter. We're going to be doing a lot of, a lot of all of those subjects, but, something that's happened in your career, in your life that had an impact on you in some way. And, if you want to submit those stories, you can go to streetwarriorradio.com/contact and fill out the contact page there. It does require your email address. It does require...
no credit card information, though. We're not scammers.
No.
Yeah, we don't want your credit card number here.
We really don't.
No, not at all.
Although... Never mind. All right, so, you can go there, streetwarriorradio.com/contact. Please go there. Actually, by just visiting the site and submitting the contact form helps us out because we know that people are, participating and we want y'all to participate. We want y'all to be a part of the podcast just as much as we're part of the podcast. We want y'all to be able to give us direction.
And feedback for sure.
Feedback, and we want you to help us move the podcast. We want you to be a part of the show. We're part of the Street Warrior family, and this is y'all's show just as much as it is ours. Or you can email info@streetwarriorradio.com. Or you can also email Big Bo and I directly. I'm JC at streetwarriorradio.com. He's Big Bo at streetwarriorradio.com. BIGBO.
That's right. Big Bo in here.
If I have to spell JC, I'm just going to shut it all down. Or you can hit us up on Facebook or Instagram. I wouldn't recommend Twitter for stories because obviously the characters are limited.
Yeah.
to whatever it is now. They just changed it from 140 to like 240 or something.
Yeah, slide up in the DMs, though. You can slide in the DMs. We're fine with that.
DMs and the threads.
No nasty stuff, though, please.
Yeah, save your pictures for Big Bo at StreetWorld.
Don't save your pictures for me, please.
But yeah, we want to hear your stories. We really do. We really want to hear your stories. And we want to hear what you've been through. We want to hear your experiences. And that's that.
Yeah. So go ahead. Let's hear your war story, JC.
Ooh, I was going to let you go first.
Okay, fine.
I was going to let you go first.
All right. I'm going to go a little funny war story. It actually happened in war.
Ooh.
In the combat zone.
Real.
Downrange.
Real. This is as real as it gets.
Okay, so second deployment, I'm in Kuwait and truck driver, 88 Mike. So we would take supplies and whatever, and we would drive from Kuwait to wherever in Iraq, just different places. So, you're in a convoy. So you have your MPs over there, normally your gun truck units, and some people fall in on gun truck units. It just depends how it, lay of the land. But for this deployment, most of our gun truck units were reserve MP units. So that was pretty cool. And you get to know them pretty well, and they all have call signs. So this particular one, his name was Mighty Mouse. And that was his crew's name. They were Mighty Mouse. And I was towards the middle of the convoy. And we had civilian truck drivers who are from different countries, mostly from the Philippines and Nepal, places like that. So we're in a convoy, and one of the whites, that's what you call them because they're white trucks and we're green trucks. One of the white trucks makes the wrong turn. So you're just like dominoes, you're falling into place. So we're driving, and I look at my driver and I'm like, I think the convoy got a little bit shorter. And he's like,
uh-oh.
Yeah, I think it did too. I was like, well, where's everybody at? So we're driving, and then all of a sudden we're in, say, a residential neighborhood in the middle of Iraq. And you've got people coming out looking outside of their windows like, they're not supposed to be here. And I'm looking back at them like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. So I get on my mic, and I'm a little frightened because I don't know where I'm at. And there's a bunch of people looking at me like I'm not supposed to be there. And in a very scared and timid voice, I was, Mighty Mouse, this is light skin, because that was my call sign. This is light skin. I don't know where I'm at right now. And it was just like we talked about earlier in the podcast. It was like everything shut down, and it was like all kinds of people just came looking for us and like, what was the last turn you went down? I was like, I don't know. We're in a residential neighborhood, and people are about to come outside, and my voice is cracking. My driver's panicking. He's throwing in like 4 pouches of dip, and I'm looking at him like, well, if he's nervous, I'm nervous, and I'm trying to keep it together. And
when they bust out the dip, it's serious.
It's real serious. I mean, he cracked open a brand new can. And luckily he came and he found us, and we got back with our convoy, and all was right with the world. But when we got back to the camp, everybody who heard me on the radio was just clowning me, because they were just like, light skin, this is Mighty Mouse, and I'm scared. And I was a little scared. I'm not going to lie. I was scared. I was like, this is it. This is the day I get blown up, and they're going to mail my flag back to my mom, and she's going to be like, I knew I shouldn't have let him go to Iraq. So that's my war story for right now.
That's sounds frightening.
It was very frightening. The worst part was because at that time in Iraq, we didn't share the roads. Mm-hmm. So after sunset, the roads were ours. Yeah. We traveled them. We drove down them. No one was allowed to drive. And if a car was on the road, you were just like, oh, God, it's a VBED IED. They're going to blow up the whole convoy. So all these people were coming outside like, what are you doing in a residential neighborhood in Iraq? And I was just like, God, we're going to get blown up here. This is the end of my military career.
Or life.
Or life, yeah.
Either one.
Either one. But, like I said, I was saved, and Mighty Mouse came and rescued me, and I don't even know that dude's real name. But if Mighty Mouse ever listens to this podcast, I just want to say thank you for saving my life and keeping a young man unafraid.
And he owes you a log of dip.
Yeah.
So, there's all sorts of different stories, that can be told. You know, and just so you know, guys, war stories don't have to be like literally war. It's kind of a general term, but
yeah.
So I was working at a large agency, large and in charge, and this particular large urban environment has a large transit system, right? And my partner, George, he was my partner at the time. George and I, we were at one of the train stations, and this train station was horrible. It was like right down the street from this one area in Dallas is where we were. That called 5 Points, right? 5 Points is like this horrible place. I mean, it's like, you remember Gangs of New York?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the five points. Yeah, so it's that.
Oh, okay.
It's just you have like one side of it's controlled by Hispanic gangs, one side of it's controlled by black gangs, and there's a bunch of Muslims, Somalis, and Ethiopians that are in this other area, right?
Okay.
It's this weird melting pot, and then you have like these like little condos in the middle. That
condos are always fun.
That rich people come in and decide, oh, this is cute. This is a nice little fixer-upper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
my house.
So we're this is the area, the general area that we're in, and so George and I are at this train station, and there was, from what I remember, there was like some kind of like, it was like a little disturbance, or maybe these two women were being just overly loud and vulgar. So we make contact with them, right? And here we are, two strapping young fellows, you know, pretty good shape. He was in way better shape than I was.
Better shape. I've seen pictures of George.
But I was in good shape, mostly. But so we're talking to these girls, and, you know, part of the job being police officers, identifying people. So they give us their names and all that, and we run them over the radio. Well, one of them comes back with a felony warrant.
Okay.
Well, when they hear this... They admit at that point that they lied, but they'd actually used each other's names and their dates of birth. They were like best friends, and one had used. And I bring up that we were in shape part because it has value to this next part of it.
Okay,
these were round shaped individuals.
Okay,
these were large women.
Okay,
is what they were.
Big girls,
very big girls.
Big girls. BBW.
Yeah, BBW. And mind you, while this is all going on, it just iced over, and so there's like ice everywhere and all this. We're setting the stage here, so it's cold, and like both of us are just like, I don't have time for this bullshit. It's cold.
Yeah,
we weren't going to worry about it. The felony warrant part was a problem, right? But the failed ID and all that, like giving them false names, like whatever, don't care. We're just going to kick them off. But one of them comes back with a felony warrant, and she's like, wait a minute, that's her. So then the girl whose name she used was like, you just rat me out, you know? And so
just drop a dime
so
on
then
me.
They start in on each other.
First of all, why would you? I mean, if you're going to use one another's names, why not just use your real name? That makes no sense to me.
Well, it didn't make sense because they were like, why? Yeah, and then but the one that when she used her friend's name. And it was like, okay, you're under arrest, right? She was like, you have a warrant? What? And she was like, that's her. And then she's like, bitch, that ain't me. So like it goes on this thing, right? And they start yelling at each other. So at this point, we're like, we're going to place them both under arrest, right?
Yeah.
So we get them both up. We handcuff one. And then the one that actually had the warrant, she decides to run.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. Of course.
We're in good shape.
Yeah, no, you're going to catch her.
We got this.
No, you're going to catch her.
We're going to catch her.
Yeah.
Here's what happened. So this train platform has like 2 levels, right?
Okay.
All right, there's stairs on each end of the train platform, and there's an elevator in the middle. We're closest to one of the stairs, right?
Yeah.
So this chick, she tears away from my grasp and takes off down the stairs.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking fast.
Oh.
Like.
She's quick.
Like, I don't think I've ever seen that much weight move that fast.
Oh.
Right?
She had momentum, though. She's going downstairs.
Serious momentum.
Yeah, serious momentum.
Well, we take off after her. We yell at the other chick, hey, you need to sit right there.
And she's handcuffed.
Okay,
she's going to stay.
And she sat down.
Okay.
She didn't move. She was like, I don't want none of this.
Yeah.
So we took off down the stairs. George hits the second flight of stairs on the way down, and there's ice.
Oh.
Everywhere.
Oh.
So he like flips over and just tumbles down the stairs, right?
Yeah.
I see this, and do I stop?
No, you've got to catch her. You're in active pursuit right now. You're in a good foot
Partner's
chase.
down, right?
You're
Partner's
in a good
down.
foot chase. He's fine.
So I keep going.
Yeah, of course.
It was my turn. My legs go up. My radio flies off my belt. Like I'm just like, and I hit the stairs, and it's just like boom, 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 all the way down like a cartoon.
Oh.
I'm mad now.
Yeah, now you're upset.
He's mad now.
Yeah.
And somehow, when we finally get up, she's got like a football field on us.
How did she not fall in this ice?
I don't know. So we start hauling ass across this parking lot, across the street, finally catch up to her, right?
She's out of breath.
It was like you ever seen like, of course you have, watching a football game?
Yes.
And there's this guy, he's just get broken away, he's on his way to the end zone.
Yeah.
And then here's this other guy, and he's coming up, and
out
he's
of nowhere.
catching it, and then it's like, tackle.
Boom. Yes.
Well, two of us did that.
Okay.
So she goes down. We get her. So we're in ice, snow. It's all wet. It's nasty. By this point, her shirt has ripped.
Oh, gosh.
So she's in a bra now.
Oh.
Right?
This
And
is so
pants.
bad.
There's me, him, a lot of her, all over the place. And she wants to start fighting.
Oh. She doesn't make things bad on herself.
And she was strong.
Oh, I bet. She didn't fall on that ice.
Real strong. So while we're doing this, we're trying to get her in custody. This security guard comes running over, and he's like, y'all need some help? And we're like, yes. He comes over. He grabs one of her hands, standing up, and is like pulling her now.
Yeah.
Away from us. And it's like, who needs help? You're or us, you know? It's like, you're not helping us right now.
You're making things 100 times worse, sir.
And eventually we got her in custody. But
good.
It was a mess.
That sounds horrible.
I was sore for a while.
And I bet she was cussing y'all. And
her friend sat there the entire time and did not move.
What a good person. I wouldn't even have took her to jail after that.
Well, I mean, she went to jail for failing.
No, I wouldn't have.
At that point, everybody
I'd
went
have
to
been like,
jail.
you're a good person.
I mean,
you're a great citizen.
At the time, it didn't feel like that.
Yeah.
But she stayed. So,
What a good person she was.
Yeah, she was a great person. Anyway.
All right. So get to know us topics is something else we're going to do because we feel like you guys don't really know us yet and don't think that, we may be humans, Well,
so we're cops, so we're supposed to be robots, right?
Yeah. This is one of the topics, we told you on the last episode we are failed musicians. Very failed.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. What's your favorite album and or music? Or both? And how have they overall influenced your life?
Well, I don't know that I have a favorite album.
Really?
Like, I have lots of albums that and artists that I love, but I don't think I have, like, one that stands out. It's like I don't have a favorite movie. I don't really have a favorite book. I have lots of them that I like, right?
Yeah.
But
those are signs of a psychopath, by the way. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. My wife might agree. So yeah, okay. So probably the two that stand out the most, right? Okay, so my very first two CDs that I got in my life.
Okay.
In 1991.
Ooh, you had money.
I think it was 91 because I got a Discman.
If you got a Discman and CDs in 1991, you had some money.
I had a Discman. I think it was a gift from my grandmother.
Ooh.
It might have been 90 or 91. I can't remember. CDs were like just really...
Yeah, they were like $500 a pop.
Something like that, yeah. But I guess as a kid, I always kind of liked rock music, right?
Okay.
So rock and 80s,
Love 80s rock.
80s
Love
is awesome.
80s rock.
I've been on this like kick lately. Like the other night, what was it? Yeah, the other night. I was sitting there on the computer and I was putting revising some of the outline for the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I threw on I got on YouTube and I started listening to synthwave, 80s synthwave. Have you ever heard of that?
No. It sounds like some stuff Prince was into.
Freaking amazing. It's like you're in the movie Tron. It's just like it's
not interested.
I mean, you know, it's like every 80s song, like not like 80s pop, but it's like the music.
I love 80s pop.
The music that was in like 80s movies, you know, with the synthesizers and the, you know, and the beats and all that kind of stuff. Well, I guess it's like a thing now where like they make albums. There's like whole albums. It's crazy. I literally got caught in that for like hours as I was doing stuff. So anyway, so my first 2 CDs were probably the most influential on me as far as like my musical direction was going.
Yeah.
And that was Metallica's Ride the Lightning.
Okay.
Which is just
classic.
Ridiculous.
Classic.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is like that one and Master of Puppets after that.
Yeah.
Was just like, and then Justice for All after that was like that was Metallica.
Yeah, that's when they were good, before they started fighting Napster.
Right. So, and then the other one was A Night at the Opera by Queen.
That's your band.
And like, I did fall in love with Queen. For a long time, Queen was my favorite. A lot of
men fell in love with Queen.
Yeah, that for good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, minus his teeth, Freddie Mercury was a sexy guy.
I'm not going to go that far.
But like, his voice was amazing.
Way too much chest hair.
Hey. You can be in what you're into, I'll be in what I'm into.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, but those 2 CDs, I literally wore them out in that Discman. And there's like such a contrast between the 2 of them. It's like completely, they're completely different records.
One's hard rock and one's, I don't even know what you call Queen. Queen is like,
it's like opera.
Ballad rock? Rock
no,
ballad?
I wouldn't, no, not even close. See, here's the problem. Here's the problem. All right. So Queen, like their albums, or what you hear in the United States, like the singles that were released in the U.S.
is not Queen.
Around, is not representative of their catalog of music.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of like hard rock songs for the time. Like if you listen to their first 2 albums, it's like they're freaking singing about like, I mean, it was almost like very Led Zeppelin-y. So you know, Led Zeppelin, they had, you know, they would sing about freaking Lord of the Rings and things like that. It was that kind of stuff. It was like goblins and knights and monsters and
because they were worshiping the devil.
Possible, yes.
Yes.
But I mean, it was hard rock for the time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But this, you know, Night at the Opera. Night at the Opera's got like, it's got all of it. It's got from like goofy pop songs to like hard rock songs to like the whole 9 yards, of course, Bohemian Rhapsody and all that, which was like their pinnacle. But like those 2 CDs, those 2 albums, like I literally wore them out. I'd sit there and just listen to them for hours and hours on end. And it was like, this is just amazing, you know? And I was kind of like, and that kind of actually influenced when I got into music, like actually being a musician, like those 2 albums and then those 2 artists ultimately were like big influences in how I wrote songs and how I, you know, what my tastes were. Yeah. And even to this day, you know, it's like, I listen to stuff that comes out on the radio now. And I'm just like, meh.
Yeah.
But that stuff always has value to me because
it was just valuable music. It's timeless.
It's amazing. Nobody writes music like that anymore.
No,
there's artists that try to imitate it now because it's like a little niche or whatever.
AWOL Nation, they're very much like Queen.
The Black Keys, you know, bands like that try to. What's that other one?
Imagine Dragon.
No, I wouldn't say they're more pop, but I would say like what's that? What's that band that they sing that Cold Hearted Bitch song?
I don't know.
The Stokes or the Strokes or something.
The Strokes would be the Strokes.
It might be the Strokes. Yeah, like that. Like they're kind of retro, right?
Yeah.
It's like this little niche. But back then they wrote real songs. Like their songs actually said something. They told a story. It's not like the same 4 lines over and over again to a catchy beat like it is now.
Oh yeah.
Or the same hook, same chorus, same just crap, just over and over again.
Yeah, even the same beats.
And even the same beats. And a lot of artists like now, like it's the same. They just copy off each other or they sample each other's crap, and it's just like, it's like movies now, right? There's a remake of everything.
They're bringing Roseanne back.
They are bringing, oh yeah.
I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, no, I did. I saw that, and I actually read something on that, and I saw an article. It was an article or something on TV. I can't remember, but I guess she's going to get political.
Well, that's her stand-up.
Well, she's a big Trump supporter.
Yeah, she does very political comedy.
Well, I'm wondering how, you know, and I'm not going to get into politics on this show, but, you know, I wonder how it's going to do, because like Tim Allen, his Last Man Standing show.
They said that wasn't the reason, sir.
They said it wasn't, but it was heavily inferred that it was. Mm-hmm. So, his ratings were not horrible.
So, favorite music is 80s rock.
My favorite music is just rock in general.
Rock in general, okay.
I kind of tend to lean more towards like metal, okay. Right? Like Slipknot and stuff like that.
You put me on to Slipknot too, by the way. Dude, Slipknot is amazing. Voice. If you haven't listened to Slipknot, give them a chance.
Corey Taylor's voice.
They're just not all a bunch of screaming and crazy stuff. They're actually pretty dope.
They say some stuff too.
Oh yeah, it's a good. Yeah, they're definitely pretty good band.
But growing up though, it was very much 70s and 80s rock.
Yeah, and see, I'm the same way. So, I also don't have. I mean, if I had to choose like favorite albums, it'd be very hard for me to do because I have so many favorite albums. But my music is mostly rap. But growing up, my mom was very heavy into vinyl. So we had vinyl in our house, so much vinyl. And my mom was very into the 80s funk scene. So, and Prince. Yeah. And so we had a lot of that. Like, so.
There's some Rick James in there.
Yeah, Rick James and Apollonia 6 and Prince. 6. And it was just so.
I guarantee you, most of the people out there have no idea who Apollonia 6 is.
Oh, man. So that's how I knew we were going to my grandma's house for the weekend. Because my mom would pick us up from school or from wherever we were at, our babysitters. And she would go jump in the shower and she would throw on Apollonia 6 albums and just go get ready to go to the club.
It was on.
Yeah.
She's getting her groove on.
Yeah, she would get
in that mindset.
She would be in that mindset, or she would throw on Purple Rain. Oh. And if I have to choose like a classic album to listen to or to be my favorite, it'd probably be Purple Rain.
Yeah, we've had conversations about that before.
Purple Rain is just classic. Prince is classic. Yeah. Rappers is definitely going to be Lil Wayne and Eminem. I could listen to them all day long. Any of their albums, even the ones that people say suck, I'll still listen to because they're just great lyricists. Whatever, you don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I'm mostly into rap, and if I'm not listening to rap, because there was a time in my life, like right after Tupac died, because I was a huge Tupac fan. My cousin put me onto him, huge Tupac fan, and Tupac died, and I was like, well, rap is dead, and I started digging into my mom's crates, and I just got really into like Zapp and Roger, George Clinton, and it was just straight 80s funk or 80s pop for me, and that's what I was into up until I heard who is that? Do or Die. Do you want to ride in the back seat of a caddy? Top it off with Do or Die.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep. So that's what I was into.
But you said you've talked about before, like having like Michael Jackson influence you.
Oh God! So like how you had your first, CDs were, Metallica and Queen. My first cassette I can remember ever having was Michael Jackson's Bad. And I rocked that tape until it popped. Yeah. And it was just, to me, that was the best thing out. And I had my Walkman. I didn't have a Discman because I wasn't.
I had a Walkman too.
Yeah. And I had the Walkman and I had Michael Jackson's Bad. And that was the only cassette I had. And I listened to it all the time. I also had, Fresh Prince. I had I'm the Rapper.
Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, I had I'm the Rapper and He's the DJ as a cassette tape, and I listened to that quite a bit. Yeah, Will Smith gets slept on. He's underrated as a rapper.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's way underrated. Yeah.
Sometimes.
He's
a good actor though.
If you could see any band or artist dead or alive just once, who would it be? For me, it'd be Tupac. Cool. I would love to go see Tupac live.
It'd be Queen with Freddie.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously. Both of them are dead, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, if I could pick any group in the world, because like he died in 1991.
Yeah.
So I was 10 years old. So like there's no way
I was 6.
And they hadn't toured since like 85.
Well, he had AIDS. He had the AIDS.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah. Can't travel with the AIDS.
No. But yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Just to hear it in person.
Yeah.
That voice. I mean, God,
that's how I feel with Tupac. Like that was just. He was rap for a while. That was it.
It's interesting though, because there are others that I would like to see, but that right there though, it'd have to be Freddie.
Yeah, I saw the Tupac when he was at the House of Blues in L.A. I saw that video and I was just
video,
yeah. I was like, gosh, I wish I could have been there. Like, he was really.
Well, he's a performer. I mean,
he's
he actually
a real
put on a good
performer.
stage show.
He put on a good show,
and that's what I like about that's. I mean, aside from just hearing the songs and hearing the voice, I'd want to see them because Freddie Mercury was a showman.
Yeah.
He actually put on a show. They weren't just standing there playing their instruments and singing the mics and stuff. Like, they actually put on a show. And with production and with value. And
well, Metallica did that too, you know.
I think Metallica still does that.
They do. They put out that movie.
I don't think anybody watched that movie. James Hetfield on Joe Rogan even said that movie is...
I know 2 people that seen that movie.
I've never seen that movie.
I would never watch it. But, you know, hey, it was out there. And that just shows that, you know, they're showmen.
So, okay. All right. Real quick. What was the first concert you ever went to?
MC Hammer.
No shit.
I was 5 years old. My mom, I was a huge Hammer fan.
Was he wearing the pants?
Oh, yeah.
Was he too legit to quit?
Oh, he was way too legit to quit.
Yeah. The whole time you were there, you felt like
he made us pray and everything.
He made you pray?
Yes.
Oh, he converted at that point?
Yeah, he had the song, I like to pray. Pray. Pray every day. And I was just like, I like to pray. Me too, Hammer.
Hands are all up and everything like at a revival.
My mom had a really good job at the time. She worked for Mountain Bell in Arizona, which like is pre AT&T.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
like AT&T bought them.
Well, yeah, because here we had, or down in South Texas, we had Southwestern Bell.
Yeah. And so, she worked for Mountain Bell and she had a really good job there. And she got us like 3rd row seats.
Ooh.
Yeah. And we were like right in front of the stage. And I was like 5. I mean, my haircut was Hammer. I had the little tail.
Oh, did you have the little...
Yes, I had the 3 lines.
The 3 lines,
yes.
yeah.
I thought I was the coolest kid in the
killing
world.
It.
I was killing it.
Did you wear the jacket with the big shoulders?
No,
with
I had
shirt on.
I had an MC Hammer t-shirt that said "Too legit to quit" on the back.
Oh man,
because I was too legit to quit, baby.
Yeah, that was the song though.
It was.
That was the song.
It was.
If you were alive in like, was it 89? 90?
That was like 91.
Was it 91?
I think it was 91. He came out.
You knew that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't that like the Ninja Turtles movie or something? One of them. Where did that come from? Like it was in a movie or something like that.
I don't know. I know he did the Pepsi commercial with "Too Legit to Quit."
He did a movie.
He did a movie.
Or he didn't do a movie, but that song was in the movie.
I don't think it was the Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh, no, Vanilla Ice was in that one. Yeah.
Ice.
Rob Van Winkle.
He's from Dallas, by the way.
He is.
He's from
Although he claims
area.
Florida, and Florida can have him. So,
nope. A1A, Detroit Avenue.
He was the original Eminem.
No, sir, he was not the original Eminem. No, he was not.
White boy in a black neighborhood making it as a rapper.
Eminem does not rap about any of the stuff Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice was killing people in his music. Vanilla with the 9, and I would say,
but I mean, you know,
Cage with the Gauge, I think is what he said.
At the time, you know, he had to come off, you know, a certain way. But
all right, so we got a question in on the website.
Little Q&A.
Little Q&A.
Okay, so this is an interesting question.
Very interesting.
All right, so I'm going to edit some of the question because it has some specifics in there. But
who does this come from?
This comes from Brendan, and
he sent us this through the website.
He did. No, he sent us through the email.
Oh, through the email.
info@streetwarriorradio.com. Okay. And he did say that he felt the podcast was great.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
And you keep up the good work. It was a pleasure to listen to.
Awesome.
So I'll take that, right?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, his question gets on the podcast.
Yeah, it gets on the podcast.
Right. If you suck up. No, I'm just kidding. So his question goes like this, all right? And this is a law enforcement related question. It has to do with the oath of office that we all take. It says, sheriffs in the state of Texas and other states, I presume, take an oath of office that specifically states they will uphold the Constitution of the United States and the great state of Texas. I know other oaths include phrasing of the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. What consequences are there for law enforcement officers who violate their oath of office or the oath of honor? Are they considered just formalities, or are they a legally binding oath that can have legal consequences for breaking? And he asked that because of a recent situation politically in his area. It has to do with sheriffs and actively supporting sanctuary cities, which,
yes,
you know, at odds with federal law or whatever. Yeah. And then he's going to get a secondary question, but I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so the law enforcement code of ethics / oath of office, right?
Yeah, we all take the oath of office I think what he's trying to get at is that you will defend the Constitution and the United States of America and uphold its laws.
And uphold the laws. Okay, so the actual oath itself is it's ceremonial.
Yes.
Right. It's ceremonial. What you're saying in the oath is that you will uphold the law.
Yeah, you're promising to do that.
You're promising to do that. You're swearing to do that, and that includes, a lot of people I guess maybe don't know this, but that includes the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights.
Supersedes every other constitution.
And the laws of your state and the laws of the federal government. And that's your promise that you're going to uphold those laws and enforce those laws where applicable. By breaking a law in the state of Texas or a federal law or violating the Bill of Rights, you are violating your oath.
Yes.
So while they coincide with each other, the simple act of taking the oath is not it's
not a binding contract.
Yeah, it's a ceremonial thing. You get a little certificate. Here's your oath. This is your oath that you swore in. Blah blah blah. There's this is very similar law enforcement code of ethics that's pretty generalized that you recite at the police academy, which is very similar to the oath of office.
Yes.
But that's not legally binding.
No.
And the oath itself is not legally binding. At least it's not in Texas that I know of.
No.
Maybe there is some other state where they have a violated oath of office for law enforcement or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here it's simply you breaking the law. You violated your oath. So it just covers the fact that you're going to.
Yeah, and it's all up to with a sheriff. It's all up to voters.
And remember, sheriffs are elected officials.
Sheriffs are elected officials who represent the county and the people in that county.
Doesn't mean they're exempt from the law.
No, not at all. But if they're doing something that you don't necessarily like, then you can vote them up out of there. It's just like any other elected position and elected official.
Yeah, and when you're talking sanctuary cities, and again, it's not a political show, so we're not going to get into that. But the political side, or the legal, this I agree with it or not. If you're going against the mandate of the federal government in a political position, a politically elected position, does it mean they're violating the law? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, it's just like, we'll break it down. We'll keep it simple, stupid. It's just like the sheriffs who work in Colorado, Washington, Alaska,
right,
where they've legalized weed in those cities, in those states. That's not what the Constitution says. The Constitution says it's illegal.
Does the Constitution specifically...
Is it prohibited?
I don't think it addresses drugs.
It's a federal crime, isn't it?
It's a federal law.
All right, stop this. We'll go back.
Okay.
So you have states like where sheriffs work, like Colorado, Alaska, Seattle, places like that, where marijuana is legal. It's not legal for the federal side, but they've made it legal for their state. They're not going to go in there and arrest those sheriffs who aren't enforcing the federal law.
Right.
They're going to, just say, hey, you're doing something we don't agree with federally, and we're not going to support this aspect of funding or support this aspect of what you're doing.
It's funding,
yeah, and that's what they're going to do for those cities that choose to support sanctuary cities. They're probably going to take away funding. They're probably going to say, hey, you're not doing what we want on a federal or constitutional level.
Right.
But I do not think they're going to go and arrest anybody.
Yeah, and the same thing is with an elected official supporting or not supporting a certain federal law. I mean, I think it comes down to no one's going to enforce that.
Yeah, I mean, you can take it back all the way to like the 1960s and 70s when civil rights came through, and you had certain states saying,
absolutely,
we're not going to let black people in our schools. That was unconstitutional, but they weren't arresting senators or police officers who were not enforcing that part of the Constitution.
So it's the same principle.
Yes, the same exact principle.
It's a political stance.
Yeah, it's a political stance.
Is what it is. And if the federal law says that, sanctuary cities are illegal, but yet a city does it anyway, you get into the whole, nobody's showing, feds aren't showing up and arresting anybody.
No.
Does the oath of office, I think the basic part of the question is, yes, technically, on a technical level, yes, he is violating that particular sheriff or whatever is violating their oath of office, right?
Yeah, but he also says he's going to protect the people.
Correct.
So,
that's which is why I said technically, right? Because it is an elected position.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you may have a difference is if it's a city police chief.
Yeah.
Or something like that, where they're not elected, they're employed,
probably lose their job.
Yeah, I don't see really.
What's the second part of that question?
I hope that kind of answers the question.
I hope it does too.
It's a gray area, but it is a formality. It's not formality. It's ceremonial. but it's the content of the oath.
Yeah.
If you violate any of that, yes, you've broken the law because you've broken the state law, you've broken the federal law or whatever. The second part of the question is, has to do with, again, sanctuary cities, and I'll just read it. He asked the original question because the news reports about sheriffs actively supporting sanctuary city policies that violate federal laws or that do not cooperate with federal agencies because of their political views, or of them doing duties normally the Border Patrol does because they feel the border security of their county is insufficient or lacking. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of that is stemmed from a political stance, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, right? But immigration laws are federal laws.
Yes.
Unless a state creates some sort of similar type laws. I think there's actually something in the U.S. Code that actually says that stuff is federal responsibility.
It is federal responsibility, yes.
But can a county or a city, can a county, can they put ICE holds on people? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And they can also choose not to report illegal people who are in their city. I mean,
right.
They can choose to do that. I mean,
so, and 9 times out of 10, I think one of the biggest misconceptions about that is that when you have sheriffs, they're like, well, the federal government's not doing its job on the border, and this is how I feel about it, and I'm going to be hiring a bunch of deputies, and we're going to be putting them on the border, and we're going to be stopping people.
Yeah, they can do that.
They can do that.
County.
It's in their county. It's in their jurisdiction, and 9 times out of 10, they're arresting them for violating local state law.
Yep.
Whatever that state law may be.
Yep.
And a lot of those people that get booked in to the county jail are getting booked in for some state law that they violated, probably not immigration related, and then they'll put an immigration hold on them, and then federal authorities make that decision ultimately.
Yeah.
But yeah, your sheriffs and all that stuff are not going in and saying, okay, you're not supposed to be here, so we're going to deport you.
Yeah,
they can't.
Yeah,
they don't have that authority.
No.
But they can put a hold on that person until the feds come in and say,
the feds can choose to cut them loose.
Yes, they can. I mean, that's something that they can do.
Yeah.
And typically, a lot of times they do.
Yeah.
A lot of times they do. They'll either ship them back, and I mean, I've always found it kind of funny that they have 2 categories. It's Mexicans and other than Mexicans, OTMs.
Yep.
And a lot of times the Mexican citizens that come over here get sent immediately back, but the OTMs get given a court date and then they disappear.
Yeah.
Well, I know, wouldn't you? I mean,
yeah, I would too. I mean, I want to be here.
Show up at this time.
I'm here illegally.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I hope that answered your questions.
Yeah, I think in a roundabout way.
It's a good question because some people don't even know. Some people don't even know we take an oath of office.
It's actually a muddy topic, to be honest.
And it's also just like the military. You raise your right hand, you take an oath to defend the Constitution. If you choose, I'm not going to do this. I mean, they're not going to put you in jail. You may get court-martialed and kicked out, but they're not going to say you violated the Constitution. They're just going to be like you didn't.
Yeah, but and that being said, in law enforcement though, you could go to jail.
Yeah. Oh, you can go to jail for violating somebody's civil rights, constitutional rights.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
Even if your county clears you, you can still face federal prosecution.
You can face federal prosecution. So I mean, it's all up to the feds at the end of the day.
So, well, with that being said, that was kind of a long question. So we'll kind of hold the others. Here pretty soon, we're going to do once we get a number of questions that we feel is appropriate. We'll probably do a whole episode of Q&A. But just to get
love it.
But we're trying to try to get in a couple of questions at least every episode.
Send in your questions. Hit us up.
Please send in your questions. And Big Bo, if you would like to tell everybody how they can do that.
Yeah, for sure. So right now you can support
support the cops. We appreciate that.
So yeah, for sure. Right now you can support the podcast. You can find us on iTunes, GooglePlay, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Speaker, and YouTube. And you can listen to the podcast on the website. We're going to be posting it up there. Go on there, subscribe, like our channel on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast on any forum. We're everywhere. You can find us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Instagram is Street Warrior Radio. Facebook is Street Warrior Radio. Twitter, JC, is...
It's Street Warrior Radio, but it's spelled STRT, the word warrior, WARRIOR. Then radio is spelled RDIO.
All right, cool. Contact us. Submit your questions. You can submit your questions at info@streetwarriorradio.com. You can go to streetwarriorradio.com and submit your questions that way. Support us by subscribing, leaving reviews on Amazon.
And the reviews really do help us. We've had a couple people that have already left reviews, and they're so appreciated.
Yeah, definitely.
They help us out. We want to hear what you think. Good or bad, we want to hear what you think.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody that's listened to the podcast so far. Let us know what you think. I mean, we got some people who told us some things, and we were like, okay, we're going to fix these things on our podcast. We want to know. We're still new to this. This is only our second episode. So if you want us to sound better or you want us to get closer to the mic, be louder, let us know. We will try to fix these things so that you are happy listening to us.
I'm hoping that we now have the audio issues worked out.
I think we should have them. Yeah, I think we should have them. There's no dogs running around.
No, I had my dogs running around in the background and whining and crying the whole time.
So let us know. Hit us up on all our social medias. Follow us. Tag your friends. Tell people to listen to the podcast. Let everybody know about this.
Yeah, absolutely, Big Bo. If you like what you hear, if you're entertained, let somebody know about it.
Tell somebody. Tell a friend.
Spread that word.
If you see something, say something.
Save lives.
All right, we want to thank y'all for listening. I'm out. Salute.
So with that, thank you. Thank you. Thank you to all the men and women of our armed forces. Without you, we cannot do this. Without you, this podcast doesn't exist. The sacrifices that you make, they are what make this country great. They are what keep us free. They are cherished and honored, and we just can't do enough to thank you. To our fellow brothers in blue and sisters, don't want to get that email. To our fellow brothers and sisters in blue, we love you. You're our family. In 2017, there were 139 law enforcement deaths in the United States. 93 firefighters died in the line of duty, and 33 U.S. military personnel died in the line of duty. And it goes to say something when our brave soldiers, Marines, airmen, sailors, Coast Guardsmen, Coasties are in a time of war, and here at home, police suffer more death. It kind of goes to say something about the times that we're in. And you just never know. Nowadays, you go to work and you wonder, is this my day? Is this the day that my number's going to get called? We honor you. We honor you for your sacrifice. We honor you for going out there in our communities, our counties, our states, a federal level, and doing the job, upholding your oath, taking care of the people that need to be taken care of. And to the families of first responders, of military, we thank you for the sacrifices that you make, the fear that you feel, and the amazement and joy you feel when your loved one comes home. It's an incredible roller coaster for both sides of the aisle, and we thank you for that. We do honor that very much so. And to all the people out there that are just working every day, that are in the grind, that are just trying to make it, thank you for what you do. Because if you didn't do what you did, it really wouldn't matter. It really wouldn't matter, because the percentage of people that are in the military or in law enforcement, fire service, EMTs, etc., it's a small percentage. The rest of y'all make the world go round. And if you weren't out there making stuff, if you weren't out there building cars, building houses, creating new amazing products, creating cures to diseases, etc., it all wouldn't matter. So thank you for what you guys do. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We're growing. We're just getting started, but we're growing. I want to thank you to the almost 300 followers that we got almost right off the bat. 200 of which before we even had an episode out. That is awesome. We've gotten a lot of great feedback. We got a lot of good response from some companies. And I feel like we got a good future.
For sure.
So, again, we appreciate you. We love you. Street Warrior Radio, out of service.